Hi everyone, welcome to Make a Monday. Today we are making these woven friendship bracelets. Now these are very colourful and fun to make, and as the name suggests, once you finish making them, you can gift them to a friend. To make your bracelets you will need some straws, some wool, a pair of scissors, and some masking tape. Are you ready to go? Let's get started. Okay, so I'm starting with 2 straws. Now this will make the thinner bracelet that I was wearing in the example, and 2 straws is a good place to start just while you're getting used to the technique. And then as you get more confident with the technique, you can add additional straws, and that will make a thicker bracelet like this one here that is using 3 straws. So I've cut my straws about 20 centimeters in length. You really can use any length. This is a pretty good place to start. First thing I'm going to do is take my masking tape and just tape the ends of my straw together. So you can rip it or you can use scissors if you need to. Now, if you don't have masking tape, you can use sticky tape, but just be aware that we need to take the tape off towards the end of our bracelet. So masking tape is just a little bit easier than sticky tape to take off. So if you're going to use sticky tape, just try not to tape it down too tightly. Next, I'm going to take my first colour of wool and place it between the 2 straws. I'm leaving a little bit of overhang, and I'm just going to tie that off so that's attached to one of the straws. So tie a knot. Okay, so I've tied a double knot onto my first straw. I'm going to make this the back of the bracelet. So we'll flip it over. And then this is the excess piece of wool that we had, so we can just leave that to the side and we'll cut that off. So I'm going to come nice and close here so that you can see the technique. So you can choose to weave sideways like this, but I find it's a little bit easier when you're learning to have your straws up in kind of a V shape. So taking our wool, the first thing that we're going to do is go under that first straw, in between both of the straws, and then over the straw on the left, and then just do the reverse. So come back through, over and around, through the middle, over, around, and back through. So we're kind of doing a figure 8 in between both of those straws. Now as I go, I'm just going to push them down. So behind, through the middle, front, through the middle, and then front, behind, and so on. So keep practicing your technique. We'll go really slowly again, around, through the middle, around, and keep going. And then when we're ready to change colours, we're going to come back. Okay, so I've gone about 1/3 of the way and now I want to change colours. So I'm going to just snip my wool off and I'm going to leave enough overhang so that I have enough wool to work with. So if in doubt, always cut a little bit more than you think you'll need, as you can always trim it again. But once you've cut it, you can't get it back. So that's the end of our green. Going to do some blue now. So I'm going to take my blue wool, and then all we want to do is tie these 2 pieces of wool together. So again, I'm making sure I'm at the back of my bracelet where the other knots are, and I'm tying a knot between the blue and the green. So again, I'm going to do a double knot. I'm just going to place it down so that I can do a really tight knot, and then we can snip off that piece of excess green. So grab our scissors, just trim off the excess green, and now you are ready to go with the blue. So just continue the same technique. So over, between, around and under, over again, and under. So we'll keep doing those figure 8s, and I'm going to do one more color change, And then once my straw is completely full of wool, we'll come back and finish off our bracelet. Okay, so I finished my blue and I've also added some red and just tied it off at the back of the bracelet, and I'll come back at the end and just trim off those edges so they're nice and neat. Now I've gone as far at the top of the straws as possible. What we're going to do next is cut 2 lengths of wool. Mine are approximately 50 centimeters. This is longer than we're going to need, but it's always good to have excess. What we're going to do is take our straws and our long piece of wool and just thread this down the straw until it's coming out the other end. So really important when you're putting the tape on your straws, just to leave the ends open so that this wool can thread through. Okay, so here's my wool completely through the straws. I'm going to start from this end that doesn't have the tape. And what I want to do is take both of my lengths of wool and just tie them in a knot. So have an adult help you with this part if you need to. So we've got a nice secure knot at the end. We might actually make that a double knot. And what this part will be is the part that you use to tie this bracelet around your wrist. So like I said, it's better to have a little bit more than you need, and we can always trim that at the end. Now what we need to do is do another knot at this end of the bracelet, but this is probably the trickiest part of this craft, so if you need to have some help, you can grab an adult helper. We need to take the masking tape off of the straws. So just remove the masking tape, grab some scissors if you need to. And then what I'm going to do is gently remove the straws. So gently tug on the straws. Because we've tied the knot up here, our bracelet is nice and secure. So I'm holding onto the bracelet with one hand and just sliding the straw with the other. You should find that it comes off relatively simply. Don't worry if your weave gets a little bit loose, because you can always bunch it back up. Just maneuver that straw. It's a little fiddly, but once you get the hang of this step, you'll find that it's not too hard. And now we just need to do the same thing on this side. So grabbing those strands of wool, if you want to just bunch your weave up, just tighten it up a little bit first, you can do that. Take the wool and again, just make a double knot. So there we have our completed friendship bracelet. So you can measure the size of your wrist, and you might choose to trim these ties off to make them a little bit shorter, but otherwise when you're ready, all you need to do is simply gift it to a friend, and they can just use these pieces of wool to tie onto their wrist. It's a little bit tricky to do one-handed. That's why it's better to do with a friend. So I can tie on my bracelet, might give those excess pieces just a little bit of a trim so that it's fitting perfectly. And there you have your beautiful woven friendship bracelet. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you had fun making these cool and colourful bracelets. Now the technique that we use today is only one way that you can make friendship bracelets. There's lots of other variations that you can try. So to find out more or get some ideas for different techniques and different styles of friendship bracelets that you can make, pop into the library and borrow one of our many books on the subject, including this one called How to Make Friendship Bracelets. And we will see you back here next week for another Maker Monday. See you then.